You look like you didn't pipe your wife down enough. Now she's fucking some bigger black guy.
Now I'm paying child support or some shit.
And your kid is calling you by your first name and calling the black guy stepdad. What do you think about that?
I don't think I like it. I think I'm gonna change my outfit right now because this is not. I mean, I said this was the winter edition. That's kind of what this looks like, but yeah, you're right. You pretty accurate. Just it's like I'm fucking on like
pretty accurate.
This is like I'm on fucking Jerry Springer or some
This
shit.
is like you're like a cuck, and like your wife just fucks bigger dick dudes. That's the kind of jacket. It's like a very vintage Columbia jacket, you know?
Well, it's the whole look, right? It's the fucking, it's the mustache and like.
It's the stressed
and
5 o'clock shadow.
Yeah, I was gonna say that 5 o'clock fucking not shaved shadow and this fucking this whole thing that I got going on.
You look like you're cutting back on your income disbursement for your clothing.
All right, we're gonna switch to you. We're gonna do a little outfit switch to see if it looks any better.
Let's see.
All right.
Come on, man. Blast me on this a little bit, dude. Come on.
Dude, you look like you fucking belong at, like you're like an extra in some fucking like shitty like cop series, and you're like the fucking like the drug mule.
No, I'm not even that. I'm the guy with the oranges that they always fucking crash into.
What you're missing is like a fucking like a baseball cap or some shit.
Oh, dude, savage.
All right, now all of a sudden, there we go.
So what did we learn today, Hector?
To take off your jacket when you come inside. And
Absolutely.
Take off your hats as well.
And which police jurisdiction makes the most money in Lower Mainland?
As far as I know, it's now Port Moody Police Department.
Damn fucking right. And where does your boy live?
Poco, actually.
No, me.
Oh, you. Yeah, Port Moody.
Yeah, there you go. I was like, how the fuck did I move to Poco?
No, because I thought we were talking about like my buddy who's a cop.
Hey, okay, I'm gonna give you a situation, and I want one back. Okay.
Okay.
So I want you to think about some cool questions to ask me, but imagine, all right. Should we go on Twitch right now?
No. Why? What do you want to do on Twitch?
Well, we haven't been on there for a while.
You could just go ahead and press the start stream and just do it as live.
But it wouldn't be on Twitch. We'd have to get that key only.
Yeah, we have a Twitch key.
Yeah, I know, but we got to copy and paste and all that. Fuck it, dude.
Okay, all right, fuck it.
So
what's your situation?
You can either get married.
Okay.
To a 6 that's going to be fucking grateful.
Okay.
For the rest of your life. She's going to fucking do back doors. She's going to do alleyway fucking BJs. She's gonna
that's what grateful means to you, right?
No, she's gonna cook you whatever the fuck you want. She's gonna raise your kids. She's gonna go to church. She's gonna suck your mom's toes. Whatever it needs to be done.
So like bare minimum, but I got you. Okay.
Okay. Or so in that way,
I got
in that scenario, you're the prize. She's not completely useless.
Understood.
But she's just a hardworking, average-looking girl.
Okay.
Or you're gonna have like not an Instagram thought, but like pretty similar.
Pretty up there. So most people's like 8.5s.
But or like most people's like 9s.
Most people's 9s?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, but she gets flown out, and then she gets blown out.
And I know this.
Or I mean, it's suspect.
It's like everyone knows but me kind of thing.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Like your boys are like, bro.
I'll pull you to the side and be like, dude,
bro.
Trim that stash. Let me tell you some information.
But I don't know.
But you're like believing in Jesus. You're kind of like out of it.
Sure. So I'm like blissfully unaware.
Yeah, she like makes fun of your titties a little bit, but like she makes fun of you enough where like you don't dare question her.
Okay, sure.
But she just randomly for work goes on business trips.
Mm-hmm. That's it. This is all I get.
Those are your two.
I'm going situation 1 all day, every day.
Yeah,
Are you kidding me? It's not even close.
Listen, if I had to pick, like, from my experience, really hot chicks are really hot for a couple minutes.
I think it's not so much because when you say, a hot chick, there's, for a lot of people that means, a lot of different things, but one thing that's common is the aesthetic part, right? Just like straight up your fucking measurements. We'll break it down as simple as that. It's like, okay, you want to like chest to hip, like all that stuff. And then like, okay, does she look like she works out? And then does her face look like all these like typical things. But the bigger part of of the being attractive is the fucker,
Ooh.
is the is the allure of the person.
Okay.
So like when you meet someone that's like, oh fuck,
Yeah.
there's an allure that you
Mm.
can't quite pinpoint when you first see them, because it could be as simple as their aesthetics, could be how they carry themselves,
Right.
could be how they talk to you, how they talk to other people. Who knows? Could be a bunch of
Exactly.
other things.
Yeah.
You can't list them out when you see them, but you just know that it's something. And then over time, you figure out whatever makes them like attractive. But there's an allure. That much is very clear. I think what you're mentioning, that whole like they're hot for a second, I think it's that allure very quickly goes away a lot of the time, and then you're left with the actual stuff. Like
Right.
like it's almost like the curtain
Mm.
gets revealed.
Well, I actually want to take that deeper
Sure.
because it seems like as far as longevity and sustainability of beauty,
Mhm.
a 7 can keep a 7 for 20, 30 years, but a 9 can't be a 9 for 10 years.
Fucking
It's hard. It's
flame-
a lot harder.
What's that fucking saying? Stars that shine burn brighter, fucking short of the flame. It's some shit about like basically the hotter the flame or the hotter the fire, the shorter it is.
You sure?
That's not the wording. I know it's not. But that's
Yeah,
the idea. It's
similar,
like
yeah.
you know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
It's a similar idea there, I think, and I think that's true actually.
And I think honestly, man, like more reasonable looking girls
Mhm.
have reasonable, because girls are at a certain age they get realistic, right? They count their eggs, right?
Yeah, sure.
they
sure,
count
sure.
their eggs,
Yeah.
right? Like their savings account, and they understand that like they only got so much time.
Well, I think the other thing too is, let's say let's take it as far as like a 9.5.
I don't even know if they exist, dog.
No, just pick like
Who?
No, personally we don't.
I
But-
mean, even celebrities, bro. You see them.
You wouldn't
without
rate
makeup.
anybody 9.5.
I don't know anybody.
Take the makeup into account. Pretend like that's just normal. Don't be like one of those guys like, oh, it's with makeup. Fuck it, man. Most people you
But
see
it's more than that, man. It's like, okay, let's say Megan Fox. She had a kid.
still
right?
looks banging.
She looks banging, 100%. But you know that chick has saggy tits, right? At this point, right?
Okay,
I
how
mean,
about
you know what I'm saying?
How about Margot Robbie in Wolf of Wall Street? That was like almost
not
her
my
peak.
type. Not my type.
Really?
Nah, not really. Not my type. But she's too like bland.
I mean, sure.
You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing exotic. The thing with
You know what this sounds like, right? Like
No, I know,
This
I
is
know,
like
I know,
almost
I know,
ridiculous.
I know.
Ah, she's not my type. She's always like too good looking. She's not my type.
No, it's not that she's too good looking. It's like I've seen girls that look like that, like a
I've-
similar style.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. I'll give
You
you
know,
that.
there's
I'll
a
give you
lot of girls
Give you
like that style is like super saturated.
that. Well, here's something else. I mean, to-
And it's nothing new to somebody who lives in like North America. There's a lot of those types of genes here.
it's not only that, but it's just in general, good-looking women in general. When people think of who's like super good-looking, they always think of celebrities, and that's not so much because they truly are the best-looking people in the world. It's more so just they're the most famous, so you just see the most of them. And when you see the most of them, and when some of them
They also
happen to
got
be
the most money, man.
well, no, yeah, there's that. That's one part of it. But when you see the most of them and they happen to be good looking, just good looking. Not I'm saying they're
Yeah.
like whatever. Your mind's just gonna associate good looking to them because you're like, well, okay, they're famous and everyone else says they're good
Yeah,
looking.
yeah.
I kind of think they are, so they must be. The problem is that they're not famous because fucking we did a worldwide poll and we got the best looking people in the world. They just
They're popular.
yeah, well, they got there for a bunch of reasons. Whether they had a good agent when they were a kid, or the mom knew somebody and they got famous that way, and then
Or a good
whatever.
plastic surgeon.
Who knows what the reason is? But what I think what is true for sure is that there are 100% more good-looking people out there in the world that we just don't know about because they're not famous, which is true. So for
Yeah.
sure, there's like for every like Margot Robbie and Megan Fox, there's probably like hundreds
Yeah.
of women in this world, thousands maybe even, that are like way more good-looking than they are.
Mm. You know what I look at good looking as? A big factor of good looking is exotic, like rarity.
Yeah,
You
that's
know what
a
I mean?
taste thing too, because a lot of people pick like familiar for them. They're like, oh, because you'll see this, man. You'll see like couples sometimes, and you're
Yeah.
like, man, you're dating the exact fucking version of yourself.
That's comfort though. That's why.
That's
they-
it. Well, that's
yeah.
what I mean by that's what familiar is. Familiarity,
Mm.
comfort.
Mm.
Um,
I don't like that.
some people,
I feel like I failed if I do that.
I was telling, I feel like I failed. I remember telling somebody about this actually, and I was like, good looking, like my personal opinion on the best looking women I've ever seen, they are not what you would consider like classically good looking, because for me, again, personally speaking,
Fat ass.
there. I mean, I'm talking about just like strictly face. There's you kind of cap out if you just have standard good looking features. If basically, if you think about it this way, if you get to a point where you're almost too good looking to be that good looking, because when you just have like a if you just have a Barbie face where everything's symmetrical and you have the nice eyes, when let's just say North American, so you blonde hair, all this stuff, you're almost like a cookie cutter version of. That's what I think of
Marco Robbie.
So fair enough. That's a fair opinion to have. And so for me, it's like the really good looking people, it's like it's almost like they have something wrong with them. It's not that it's wrong, but it's like something different. So like whether their eyes, like their nose, their whatever, they have some kind of like defining feature that if you put on ugly people would look fucking terrible. But because they're already like at a pretty good looking level, that feature makes them even like more like, holy shit, even more striking is the word that I would use.
Let me paint you a picture, okay?
All right, paint me
You got
something.
a Japanese, Brazilian, fucking blue eyes.
I've seen this.
Fat ass.
I've seen that.
Chick that like studies medicine.
I don't know about that.
Then you got like
No, it's a funny story for you. Let me finish that story.
then you got like some blonde hair, blue eyes, like beautiful 10, right?
Yeah, like a Swedish or Norwegian.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with the Japanese Brazilian. You know why?
Why?
It's like a Pokemon, bro.
the rarity, the
rarity,
the exclusivity speaks to it too.
Yeah.
There's something to be said about believing that what you have is exclusive or rare, even if it isn't.
Even if it isn't,
right? As long as you believe it, man, that's enough for you to.
Achieve
Yeah,
it.
yeah, absolutely.
Right.
It's a funny story about that. Like what you literally described is, for me, that was like one of the top 10 women that I saw when I went to Brazil. Some random fucking mall. We were at some random mall in this fucking small city in Brazil, and we were just going through the stores, what are walking through, and I swear to God, turn the corner and then there's like another store, and the girl, obviously the first thing I noticed was, nice ass, Brazilian, obviously, and when she turned around, I was fucking floored. I was like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
Japanese features, blue eyes, like brown hair. I was like,
dude,
I literally froze. I was like, holy fuck, I've never seen this.
Yeah, let me show you a quick picture. I'm gonna fucking.
Okay, so you're going back to school now, or like formation? Yeah, sure. Yeah.
When you're picking mechanical, were you thinking like, this is gonna be sustainable and this is gonna be stable, or were you thinking like, this can blow up?
Kind of neither. What I remember very clearly was going through my head was, what do I believe that I enjoy doing that could translate into something real, and what has a pretty clear path for success. That's kind of what I thought in my head, because when I was, that age, when I was like 17, 16, everyone was like, what are you going to do for school? I was like, okay, well, I didn't think outside the box, for sure. I thought there's very few people do at that age. It's like you live in the box. You don't,
unless you're a drug dealer.
That's still not even thinking outside the box, because you lived inside the drug dealing box.
Okay.
That's what I mean. You stay at that age. You stay inside the box that you're brought up in.
Yeah.
And so then
pass me that. Don't bick my fucking charger.
What? No, I'm just like, relax, bro.
Okay, chill. I keep running out of charger.
All of a sudden, I'm like, a couple of minutes later, just gone.
I call this guy after the podcast. Where are you? Where are you?
I'm like, look in your pocket. You're like, oh fuck.
David Blaine.
I at that time, my thoughts were, okay, next step in life, do something in school, or don't, fine. But if I do something in school, try and figure out something that feels like it's best suited to me. So I was like, oh yeah, I like the sciences. I like, analytical stuff. I like thinking. I like trying to be smart and being whatever. So let's something about that. And I remember I was like, okay, I don't know about sciences, because that might be a bit much for me, in the sense of I feel like I might get bored. So something that might be a bit hands-on. So you're just told, based off these things that you're thinking at this age, you're kind of told that these kind of things might be good for you. And so one of them, was mechanical. It's funny. I actually looked into other programs too that weren't mechanical engineering. Like I remember I was considering like fucking like helicopter mechanic.
Jesus,
Yeah.
suck
Like
dick.
I did some. Oh, actually, it was kind of cool. I did some.
Yeah, but you wouldn't have the fucking fingers for that, dog.
I would grow
Acquire?
into. Oh yeah.
I can't imagine.
You're
you
not
with
born with those hands, my friend. I'll tell you that right now.
These ones were born with.
Oh really?
Swear to God.
So you were
know why?
You're
Do you
like
know why?
fucking Mickey Mouse, weren't you?
I swear to. Do you know
Body
why
like
I say
this,
this?
hands like these.
Dude, I swear.
You swear?
Okay.
Okay.
My sister,
Mhm.
5'2". Okay.
Yeah.
Her fingers. She never did any hands-on work in her life.
Sure.
Literally like this, bro.
Mhm.
Dad, like, dude, my dad is 5'7", 5'8".
Yeah.
He's got size 13 shoes, 12 shoes. My mom, size 11 woman shoes. I'm telling you, I come from a family of hobbits. Big hands and big fucking feet. I'm telling you, I take responsibility on that. Certain things, yes, like
Mhm.
no hands-on shit. Just
Yeah,
got
yeah.
big hands.
Yeah.
I honestly believe it's certain things. Your hands would get thicker, they wouldn't get bigger.
Yes. No. Agreed.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Yeah.
But fuck, that'd be sick if you were a fucking mechanic. If you were a fucking
Helicopter
helicopter mechanic,
Yeah.
dude, we'd be dropping trannies on the weekends. That'd be sick.
Yeah. It would have been really.
We would be.
Would have been a different.
Because I got spot here. I got space
I know
here.
it would have been really cool. That was one of the things I looked into like a bunch of stuff. I
That
didn't.
would have been sick.
That was the one thing my dad did really well for me back when I was that age. Is he was like, "Fuck it, son. Let's just go to a bunch of shit. Just check all this stuff out.
Yeah.
Don't commit to anything. Just." He's like, I'll go with you if you want. We'll go to these info sessions, fucking whatever sessions you want. But just so we went to like 4 or 5 BCIT like info sessions for all these like there was the mechanic ones. There was a helicopter one. There's also like an aircraft one. Yeah.
Aerospace
And then
engineer.
I even looked at like the ATC, the aircraft controllers.
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
another one too. So we just because that was at the Richmond campus, we just went and saw a bunch of them.
Yeah.
Did a few also at the Burnaby campus, and eventually settled on what I did, which was mechanical engineering. But that was kind of my thought process. I was like, okay, you kind of feel that you like these things. Try and find something that kind of like makes sense with them. But
Go ahead.
But it's interesting because it could have gone so many different ways.
Yeah.
Like there really is at that age, you really don't have fucking limits. You could, if you
You don't
decided,
have responsibilities.
yeah, you're 17, man.
endless.
You have like think about it now. We're now 28. That's 10 years worth of life that you've put into something. Whether it was a bunch of things or it was like one singular thing. Think of how much you've learned in 10 years.
Buddy, endless.
Fucking so much. And imagine if you told yourself, oh, I would have never thought that I could have gotten into this. Well, it's like, yeah, man, honestly, maybe not. But if you put 10 years into that one thing that you didn't think you could do, you probably doing pretty okay at this point.
Look at fucking Rogan.
Yeah.
Who the fuck would have thought podcasting is like the way this guy's gonna go?
Yeah.
Right? He gets cut from the fucking Comedy Store, and then hey, what am I gonna do?
Yeah.
Bing boom.
Yeah.
Fucking get Joey Diaz on some podcast.
Yeah.
Hey, cocksucker. 5-10 years later,
Yep.
he's got like a fucking power where you show up at his fucking, podcast. You do a podcast with him. Boom, 30,000 fucking
Done. Next day.
loyal fucking followers next
For
day.
sure.
So I think it's endless at that age. What I did was the thing that you had the foresight of going to the info session and learning something. I went to those info sessions.
Yeah.
I didn't get a feel for what it is like a day in
Oh,
life.
like, yeah, fair enough. It almost didn't feel like you didn't get enough info. Maybe.
I just didn't get enough closure to like, okay, what's the stress factors?
Yeah,
what's the like, because they always come up and they have these sale guys.
Yes.
Like how Dr. Evil was talking about how he went to fucking his upcoming gig, and they had like a bunch of these sale guys, and his dad is like, dude, these guys are fucking full of shit.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Because when you go to these fucking job interviews, they're not gonna put like these quiet, introvert type of guys in front of you. They're gonna put like the sales guys that are gonna try to like knock you off your feet.
Yeah.
So, I knew that at that age because I had enough common sense to be like, okay, well, I sell drugs. So how would I convert somebody who
I've been in the sales business for a while.
How would I convert like somebody to like come do some shit I'm doing? I would just tell them a bunch of fucking lies and try to like bloat them up, right?
That reminds me of when my dad would go car shopping. When they bought the Forester, and he'd already been doing sales for like 10 years at that point. So
that's a nice car, by the way. I like it.
It's a nice one. My dad just actually replaced. He didn't. He just had the clutch replaced. It went out. surprising because that was kind of early. Like
Manual?
Yep, manual. Like 100K only.
Your dad is like one of one, dude. Who the fuck buys Forester manuals? Dog, this guy's
They stopped
crazy.
making them the year after, I think.
Bro, this guy's
Yeah, like one of the last few in this fucking like in North America.
So I'm writing you down for an automatic. No,
Like, no.
no, manual only.
Manual only. Seriously, yeah, that's like
Guy's
a
a
thing. For him.
genius.
What was interesting is that in those moments when he would be getting sold by like a sales guy,
Yeah.
I remember him saying like, "I'm in sales too." I can imagine like you doing that, and the guy's like, because normally in that kind of interaction, if you say like, "Oh yeah, I'm also in sales, so don't bullshit me or whatever," then the guy who's selling you will kind of like soften up, be like, "Oh okay, whatever. Like, what do you do? Like what?" Then you have a conversation. I imagine like you doing that. It's like, "Hey, so what business are you in?" You're like, "Hey, I sell drugs."
Yeah, your cousin in rehab, Johnny. What do you think you got in there?
The guy's just like frozen. It's like, all right, just tell me what price you want. Fuck
He's
it.
like, that was you. Yeah, man, I ruined that guy's life.
Fuck, man.
That white was extra white. If you got kids, are you gonna bloat them up and be like, oh Santa Claus, oh Christmas bunny, oh fucking Jesus on the 25th? Oh.
I think the biggest question there is until what age I'm not gonna be like, okay, you're 3, like fucking grow up. You're 3, like enjoy this pretend life you have because you're fucking 3. I think the bigger question there is at what point do you like open the curtain? Do you do it later? Do you do it earlier? You probably do it earlier.
I just think I just don't do it. I just jump ahead of the curve and just don't do it.
You're not gonna let them be a kid?
No.
Jesus, bro.
No.
Maybe don't have kids.
No, I think I like.
Maybe just adopt.
We talked about this, right?
Adopt adults.
Hey Hector, what are you doing tonight?
Yeah.
You get adopted?
Just adopt.
Fuck out of here.
I'm telling you, man. Just adopt like fucking adopt like jaded 18-year-olds who need like a home. That'd actually be kind of cool, man. Imagine some fucking kid who's been fucking selling blow for like 5 years. Doesn't know.
Listen, you don't want to put it in your socks. You want to put it in your underwear beside your gooch.
And
I'll never check there.
Kids like, aren't you supposed to tell me to get out of drug dealing?
No,
You're
I'm
like,
just trying to get better.
Yeah.
I'm trying to improve your skills, bitch.
I'm trying to improve your safety when you do this shit. But no, keep doing it.
Trying
Keep
to
doing
get
it.
you get away, man. You need a bright future. It's either sell drugs or play sports.
I was like, fuck it. All right, I guess I'm in.
There's no way out. It's super realistic. No, I think. Well, I believe that you could just jump ahead of the curve, man. It's you kind of put them in like a little box, and you kind of cover the outside. But what happens is, again, it goes back to what you just said. When do you take it off, right?
Yes.
There's no real right time. And
that I think that's the trickier question as well. Is it's like when.
Yeah, and the other thing is like there is a little retract time of you adapting after high school to adulthood.
Sure.
If you can step that back 2 years, be a big advantage.
That's true. It's just like at the younger age.
You want to blaze?
A little bit, yeah. It says at that younger age when they're like between the ages of like 4 and fucking, or like even earlier than that, like 3 and let's say like 8.
You don't remember shit at 3.
Not only that, but because you talk about like the curtain, like maybe just pull it out immediately. They live in a world where everybody else is in that same curtain too. You don't want to make them that
at
fucking
3 though.
Yeah,
where are
everyone's
they interacting at 3? You're basically seeing them all the time at 3. There's no kindergarten. There's daycare.
Yeah, but at the kindergarten age, you're just gonna retract that curtain before they even get into everybody else's lives. What I mean to say is this: your kid's 5. Let's just say he's 5.
Yeah.
He's going to school with a bunch of 5-year-olds who are also living in this made-up world. You don't want your kid to be that one asshole kid who is just knows about real life.
Why not?
Because now you've exiled yourself from your fucking friends for the next like 10 years of your life. Well, yeah, sure, you might be 5 and you know the whole real world, but you're fucking 5.
You got 10 years to adapt.
What are you gonna do at 5?
You got 10
Nothing.
years to adapt.
You might be like knowledgeable, but what the fuck do you do at 5? 0.
So hold on. So these other kids are telling me they're not even in the race. They're still fucking delusional. And then you got this.
They're
one
5,
kid.
motherfucker.
Sure,
They're 5.
Sure.
What I mean to say is there's a lot. There's something to be said about kids developing with their own kind, like with their peers. That's important as a child. That's how you develop. Yes, because that's how you develop fucking social skills. You don't develop social skills living in a world of adults when you're fucking 5. You need to know. You need to know what it's like.
How important
being a kid.
social skills right now to you?
So fucking important. You kidding me?
You think so?
100%. When people talk about like what's communication, that's what the fucking social skills are. Is is communication. Learn knowing
Do we
how
have friends that are very successful without that?
honestly, not really.
Do we not?
No, we don't. You think, but no, they do have. I've seen them in like other. They do. The ones that actually don't have social. You have not met these people. I have. Maybe you have. But the people you're thinking of do not fit in that bill, at all.
So marriage not that.
Nope.
He's social.
Yeah.
He's social with other introverts.
Yes. Well, no. Even like
Extroverts.
yeah, man, with people in general.
But how many extroverts?
He doesn't enjoy. Here's the difference. He doesn't enjoy, but he knows how and he can.
Oh yeah, but that's
People without social skills, they don't even know how. They can't. They are limited.
I don't think that they don't know
it's
how.
a true problem. Of course, they don't know how because
But
that's
I would say he doesn't know how.
he doesn't or he does.
I would say he doesn't. I would say in the
he
aspect
does.
of
He does.
guys, sure. But what I'm saying
Bro,
is like,
I brought it to my fucking company Chris party and didn't know a single person there.
okay, no, but I'm saying like if you told them, hey, hey guy, let's go fucking hit up on 10 girls.
That's not social skills, man. Social skills is fucking everything you do in life that involves any other person, any other human.
Sure.
It's not
so
just
50% guys, right?
It's not just
50% is attraction.
not just
guys.
picking up girls. You can talk to girls without having to pick them up. You can
He though?
Yes. You don't have to pick them up, man. Jesus, you think that social skills with a woman is just knowing how to fuck her?
No. I think
So
that's
then-
the hardest part.
No. Okay, sure, maybe it
Yeah,
is.
I think so.
But
I
that-
think if you
that's
can do that, you can do
That's
the
not
other
all
thing.
it is.
Yeah, I think if you can do that, you can do the other thing. But if you can just talk to girls, doesn't mean you can pick them up. That's the difference.
Yeah, but not even being able to do that is a severe problem for a lot of people.
What do you mean?
Like not even be able to fucking talk to them.
Oh
straight
yeah,
up.
okay. I'm talking about elites though. You're talking about like the average.
Well, that's what I was talking about, developing social skills as a kid. You won't become fucking elite without social skills. You just can't. There's no fucking way. You can't be told this is how you act. You have to fucking do it. It's
I
with
believe that.
It's like with anything. Like you can't just be told, yeah, okay, go drop that engine off that car. You need to show them, or they need to try it a few times before they get it right. You can't just be like, oh, yeah, that's how you do it. Go do it.
I believe that.
Right?
I agree to an extent. I just think there's a difference between being elite and surviving.
Okay.
And that's where we differ, right? You put a lot of emphasis on, being a butterfly. I put a lot of emphasis on, like, what are my goals? What am I trying to achieve? Am I at some staff party to just get along with people? Okay, cool. That's
sure.
what I'm doing,
Mhm.
right? Am I wingmanning somebody? Okay, that's what I'm doing. Or am I trying to, get some type of, camaraderie? What's it called?
Camaraderie.
Camaraderie.
Camaraderie. Yeah.
Yeah, or get some type of networking done.
Mhm.
Like, what are my goals?
Okay.
The elite can pick and choose and then adapt.
Okay.
The non-elite just survive.
Okay.
I would say a lot of guys that are considered social nowadays just survive. There's very few that are elite. It's actually very rare nowadays because of all these new, new age kind of, you can't be staring at me, you can't be doing this. Like these new age, I guess, sensitivities that's going on with like LGBTQT, blah, 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 this and that.
Sure.
There's new age shit that's like not the old school way of doing things. Or at least, acting in a social setting. But again, it really goes back to, what are you trying to do? Are you just trying to survive? I personally think that there's a lot of guys that went through that kindergarten shit that just ended up introverts. What I try to do is like, you can be a very successful person financially, by work, a lot of different areas, maybe not socially, but be a complete introvert and not have any social skills. Like not be able to pick them up, not be able to survive in like a party situation and be like an elite. And the reason is just simple math, man. Hours put in. You get a guy that graduate, like we talked about, remember we talked about Dr. Evil? He's like, what I would do is I would drop out of high school. I sincerely believe that.
But then you're missing a very key point of what he said.
No, I know.
Yeah, don't
You'd
forget
have
about
to
that.
have that. Sure.
Yeah.
But there is a way. Because social skills are different at different ages, right? When we were 10 years old, how many friends did you have? Give me a number. On average. Just
In the tens.
in the tens.
In the tens.
When you were in your 20s, how many friends did you have?
The same. I'm in my 20s now.
Okay.
It's in the
No, early 20s. Like 20.
Like I said, it's always been in the tens for me. It's always been in that area.
Okay, and when you were 30, like you're close to 30 now.
Low tens.
Low 10s.
Yeah.
So what happened? Did it go up and
No,
then down?
no, it gets tighter. It gets more focused.
All right. And would you consider, I would consider you actually like a very, very social person.
Mm-hmm.
Where like almost, I'm not saying this to be bad, but like you have a lot of female friends that you also consider female friends.
Yes.
So you're not a sexual threat to them, and they're not a sexual threat to you.
Mm-hmm.
It's very like universal.
Sure.
I don't have that. You know why? 'Cause I don't believe in a value in that.
Sure.
Okay? That being said, can I go in a social setting and get along? Yes. Do I need to go through every phase of growing up to have a perfect balance? I don't believe so. I think you can skip high school because adult relationship with friends is completely different than high school. Completely. It almost doesn't even.
It's so easy to say that when you've already been through it, and you getting here as a product, whether you like it or not, of you having been through all of that. So it's easy to say that, but it's a lot harder to prove because unfortunately, you have already been through it, whether you wanted to or not, whether you thought there was value in it or not.
Okay.
You've already been through it. It'd be a better example is if you said, "Hey, listen, bro, I was homeschooled for the last 6 years of my high school life, and I didn't really see people that often. I would only I was working towards my goals all the time, whatever your thing would be, and be like, look at me, I turned out fine. Okay, you know what? Fine, respect.
The reason I say that is this: you can take anybody, literally anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. On the average, among them, the median among them, what you're gonna see is everybody went down in friends.
Okay.
Everybody, even the social person. What does that tell you? Two things. One, the adult world is not like the high school world as far as friendships and how they balance, right? Here, you have responsibilities first, and then you have friendships, right? So what happens is you got work, you got this, you got that.
Sure,
you
yeah.
got things to do, then friendships, okay? And then, again, among those friendships, what makes sense? Because now you're not confined by a high school. You're not confined by classes that you have no choice with. You choose where you work. You choose where you go to school. So you're going to be friends with mechanical people or people in that kind of area and that kind of business and that kind of company. You're not going to be friends with 200 other guys that are completely irrelevant, right? So that being said, and the fact that everybody comes down as friends shows that adult relationship or adult friendships and relationships, that pool, completely irrelevant to high school pool.
Nope.
Because high school pool is like this. You go to Burnaby Central.
Sure.
You're the most popular girl there.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody wants to be you and everybody wants to bang you.
Mm-hmm.
You move. You go to Toronto. You got no friends now. That's irrelevant.
Well, I disagree on that. But also the other thing is, too, a lot of the times a product of you having whatever focused group of friends that you do actually comes from you of having a bigger selection earlier on in that previous stage of life.
No, come on.
No, I'm good. I want to say lucid. We sometimes get scattered sometimes.
Yeah, we get scattered. Yeah.
I think we got a good thing going tonight. You'll see it a lot actually, and you see it right now at this particular age range that we are. If you start browsing on what people are doing and stuff, you'll see that a big product of their current friend circle comes from having had that bigger selection earlier on. So let's say for me, for example, if I had, in the tens, and now it's in the low tens or singles maybe, a bulk of that comes from having essentially filtered out as I kind of move along. There is the caveat where, as you mentioned, that's such a really good point that you brought up. If you move, what happens then? Honestly, unfortunately, it goes one of two ways. Either you get down to zero and you build up a tiny amount, or honestly, you get no friends.
Yeah,
I've seen that.
Yeah, I've lived it.
Yeah.
Because I moved to San
Yeah,
Diego
yeah,
very
yeah.
early.
And we people with people we know we've gone to like Toronto, Montreal, but
Yeah.
yeah, you've same deal.
Yeah, so I mean, I noticed it big time. If
Mhm.
I didn't make a move, nobody gave a fuck.
Yeah.
And that's because I'm a guy
Yeah.
and I'm from a different city.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, you know, among guys in San Diego, like, I don't know if you know, but like San Diego, either retired, like fucking high army officials, things like that, big Navy over there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Or generally like retired, richer people. You know, La Jolla area,
Yeah,
it's like
yeah,
almost celebrities, doctors,
Yeah, I've heard that
dentists.
La Jolla. Yeah.
Yeah, so San Diego is just like a little bit under, right?
Mhm.
You not East San Diego, but by the beach.
Yeah.
So if you don't try, nobody tries
Yeah.
for you. There's no reason to,
Yeah.
right? What's the benefit for them? You go ahead.
No, I was gonna say people talk about that actually their experience here in Vancouver. When people was like, oh, it's the unfriendly city, blah blah, and people like, oh, when I moved
No,
in here, whatever.
it's not.
It really isn't that. What
No.
it really is that you are now moving here as a full grown adult, whether in your 30s or
Yeah.
your fucking whatever age you might be, but you're coming here as a full on adult, and you have no base here because
Yeah.
you're a fresh transplant. You come in here, you don't know anybody going
Yeah.
in, so
Emil said this last podcast.
right.
Yeah.
So when you do that, you have to accept that you are starting from zero. So now, do you want to try and cultivate something yourself, or are you just gonna pray that something's gonna fly in your fucking garden, hopefully, right? And like maybe like a friendship starts.
Yeah.
That's tough. If you're just gonna sit there and wait for shit to like come to you,
Never gonna come.
you might it's either might never come, or if it does, it'll be like not as much as you nearly wanted.
Yeah. Let's give some advice to like how to dictate this, because we're past this point.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I believe if you can actually, the number one way, and it sounds almost idealistic,
Yeah.
just don't care. But you cannot.
I know
Because
it's such like it sounds so simple.
just don't care.
Yeah.
But this is the thing. You can be the most workaholic person in the world, just be after money. And whether that's through education or through dealing drugs or through your fucking dad's business.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. At a certain point in time when you're putting these 90 hours in, right, at week after week after week, and you're seeing these fat ass paychecks, you're paying $40,000, $50,000, $60,000
Yeah,
in
yeah.
fucking taxes, you're going to be like, why am I doing this?
Mm.
Who do I share this with?
I think it's really important to realize for yourself that your own happiness cannot be dictated by what others people's perception of you is. You have to understand that what you do in this life at the end of the day is driven by you, right?
Yeah.
As much as you get influence from, and it's true, like I felt it, other people like will tell you the same, that you will get influenced by the things that you expose yourself to. 100%, sure. So whether it's your hobbies that you might take up, or whether it's the city you live in, or
Whatever.
exactly,
Yeah.
whatever, you will get influenced by all of those things. But at the end of the day, you are driven by.
Cigarettes.
Sorry, if that helps. It does start from you, and it kind of ends with you as well. So then, with that in mind, you have to think to yourself, okay, how much of that personal drive am I going to let be dictated by what other people, how they respond to me, and how they see me? Because if you say that for yourself, that's a lot. Well, then you're gonna have a fucking hard life, because then you're just gonna be constantly trying to please people so that you all of a sudden feel better in a way, right? Versus if you can find that within yourself to say, okay, you know what, I'm gonna be happy and content with myself if I do these things in my life, and if I happen to get these other things, so whether it's, friends or relationships, whatever, then I'll be even happier. Great, but that primary drive has to start from you.
Everything does. And I think that that's a high school mentality to have, like, oh man, God's going to do this, or no offense, but or like that kind of idea,
Sure,
like,
sure.
oh, something's going to happen. Bitch, nothing's going to happen.
I
You're literally no, most of the time miracles are called miracles because they rarely happen. It's not like they always happen. So on the average of 8 billion people, I would say a miracle happens, what? 1 in a million? 1 in 10,000?
Fucking never.
Or fucking never. You know what I mean?
Fucking
So
never.
like,
how often do you win the lottery in your life?
Exactly. How many people? 1 in 13 million, right? That's the odds. 1 in 13 million win the lottery.
Depends where you play, but it's some fucking high ass number.
Yeah. So that being said, even 1 in 5 million, let's say, a miracle, even 1 in 1 million, you're counting on that. So you're wasting this like 60, 70 years of prime time on just living an average life, doing nothing extraordinary, and then thinking, oh, fake optimism. It's like, it's almost kind of like cancer, man. Because if a miracle happens, it's going to happen regardless if you're thriving or you're just laying back.
The other thing too is that, fine, if you want to wait for, I mean, sure, who doesn't love a miracle? But you can't be, or at least I don't think you should be unrealistic about your expectations. So it's one thing to hope for a miracle to come by you one day. I mean, that's nice. Who wouldn't want that?
Yeah.
But you can't be relying on that to like help you. You know what I mean?
You got to do your homework, man.
You got to do what you still have to do, and then if you happen to get lucky in whatever, sure, something falls across your lap, fine, amazing. But you have to also accept the reality that may never happen. So how are you gonna feel? Are you gonna feel like a piece of shit because it's not gonna happen? No, you have to accept that and live with that. Otherwise, you're just gonna be constantly waiting for this thing that may or may not fucking happen.
Might never happen, man. And I think a lot of social media has made us this way. I showed you something that was interesting. It was what you want to view, and Instagram has it on like default block any kind of like real, any kind of true violence, any kind of like profanity, any kind of like things like that. Instantly default blocks it. And that kind of it's
you
like instant control of, and this is not no conspiracy thing. This is like what they filter. This is their algorithm, and it's crazy because Instagram is Facebook, so they do it. Meta does it too.
Yeah.
So they do it, and then WhatsApp, you would think they have some type of filter on there too.
I don't know how they would, but I would imagine there's something in there, whether it's like filtering out groups. I don't know. It's hard because like,
you could just filter
it's just straight messages.
Yeah, but
I don't know how you do that.
You make a list.
Okay.
Through the code.
Yeah.
And you just list a bunch of words.
Sure.
Get dinged.
But you would notice that, like, because you're like a WhatsApp chat is either a group chat or it's you.
No, maybe not WhatsApp, but I'm saying like videos. They get audited through this algo, and they like if they say certain words. Yeah,
could be.
You know the science of making captions is the same science that they use for these algos.
No, I did not know that. This
is why. When you make a video, what happens? You make a video, and then you have the option of putting
the auto.
So you have a bot that is reading what you're saying, then coming up with the closest thing that's going to be that.
So if it's already doing just to get to that point,
it
means that you already you already have a system in place to be able to filter certain things out. That's crazy.
That's the shit I think about, because there's people say weed is bad, but weed will get you into a spot of complete isolation that, like, I don't know if heavier drugs do, but you could think these crazy idealistic thoughts and then actually have a news or, a break in the news happen, and you think about it in that sense of mind, and you're like, wow, this fucking makes complete fucking sense.
I think the problem with weed is just people sometimes just overdo it but too much, and then they get past that
you
point.
You can't have control with weed. It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah, you're telling me. So
no, man, I'm telling myself. I'm telling myself. I'm trying to quit weed for fucking 10 years.
It's very easy to get past that point of being lucid, where you have these great thoughts, and then the next thing you know, you're like fucking 2 more joints in, and you're talking some crazy ass shit.
I got a question for you, man.
Yeah.
Why don't you work out?
Honestly,
what is it?
I stopped. It's weird. It's like,
what is it?
It's not like I had a bad experience. Actually, the last when I was going, it was actually great. I don't know why I stopped.
We went together.
I know why. Yeah, but that's just once.
No, I know, but you had that feel.
Yeah, I did.
Once after prison, I caught that feel. I can never let it go. Whatever it is, whether it's I go do ping pong, I go fucking do, I work out, I do fucking, jujitsu, I do something, right? That feel of like accomplishing something, it's the same as like if I got a good grade in a course, if I got a promotion, it's anything to add into my resume in my mind.
It was weird because back when I was going, the way I viewed going to the gym was I obviously had certain goals. I've always been like goal driven, so like whatever. Whether it was like if it was like a fucking weight that I had to lift or something that I wanted to see, whatever. I had like goals, but that wasn't why I was working out. Like I didn't start working out because I had goals in mind. Like, oh, I want to lose 20 pounds. When I was working out, my mentality was this is something I want to make part of my lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle.
Yeah, like that was me. As
That
like,
sticks.
right? And all of a sudden, somewhere along the way, I lost sight of that. Whether it was me changing stuff up, like moving, I don't know, cities, companies, I don't know what it was. And then, because like going to school, because like out in Ontario, so then I kind of broke that. Yeah, weird, man. I think honestly, I think straight up it was just
you're just a pussy.
Lost the habit, and then it is hard for me, generally speaking, to re-pick up a habit. So it might be as simple as that.
The reason I tell you is this is the point where if I was in your shoes and being as logical as you are, it's easy for you to say, oh, I could get 30 pounds overweight and then pick it up again and lose all the weight again. What I'm saying is...
Okay, yeah, sure.
What I'm saying is this is the age where you're going to turn into either a dad bod for life, you can never go back, or you got to catch yourself right now. And I've been seeing you week after week. And dude, I cut this part out later. You've been getting chubbier.
You're 100% right.
And I don't want to see my friends in this situation. There's one way where you have a fucking heart condition and I make fun of you and I get you desensitized to the situation so you can deal with it better. But there's another thing where you have complete control.
Yes.
And I just want to remind you, like, bro, I think it's time to like cut back on work and other shit. And honestly, this is going to sound retarded maybe to you, but go back to the fucking gym and go back to the fucking drawing board and see what the fuck's up. Cause like, if you don't watch this for another 8 months, man, that's another 10 pounds.
Yeah, you're right.
And it's going to take you about 12 months to get that 10 pounds off legit and keep it off.
Yeah.
And it's, I've seen it with my mom. I've been trying to tell my mom for like 15 years. She's been on and off diets, on and off gym. I even bought her one of those stationary bikes to do it at home.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man, seeing it firsthand in my family, it's a fucking addiction of like tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
For sure.
Or
like
it's the same as my weed.
It's very.
How many times have you told me on weed, yo, I thought you said you're gonna quit today, and I'm like, tomorrow.
Yeah.
Same shit.
It's always with almost anything in life that you do the same thing with.
Yeah.
Because I think it's mentally it's very easy to
procrastinate.
No, not only procrastination is like it's just a word, but it's very easy to find something in your head that you believe is more important.
Is it more important?
To override? Well, no, you can easily, in your head, you could say it, to override whatever it is that you don't want to, like, address. And then the second question you need to ask yourself is, well, why aren't you just addressing it? Like, what's the deal here? So in work, for example, if you're procrastinating on something, you ask yourself, okay, why am I doing that? Why am I finding other things to do to avoid that other thing that I should have, or someone's asked me to do, or I wanted to do, or whatever I told myself I was going to do? Why am I avoiding that and finding other things that when they come across my desk or, whatever, my to-do list, I tell myself, oh, shit, that's important. I got to do that right now. And then when you're done your day, you're like, didn't get to that thing. But that's because I was so busy doing all these things. So, man, damn, I didn't get to that. But you know what? There were so many other things I had to do. And then when you're done, you're like, you know what? We'll try it again tomorrow. That's what ends up happening. But then what's very hard for people to do after that first step is, okay, but why have you been doing that to yourself? Why have you been finding other things to like?
I'm 3 steps ahead of you.
You're 3 steps ahead?
3 steps ahead.
Go ahead.
So when you were talking about, you saw when I was going to switch, right? That was like, how long ago? 45 seconds ago?
Sure.
Okay. The one thing I've realized about myself and most other people is like, you procrastinate because the thing that you have to do, like you must do, the emergency thing that you lay off for tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's always the hardest thing for you.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
So everybody, for me, it might be education. For you, it might be fucking weight. For my mom, it might be eating.
Yeah.
Whatever. The hardest thing that you've procrastinated all throughout the years is the hardest thing to do, to change in your situation. So, you know, for me, it's been like, oh yeah, I need weed because, you know, if I don't smoke weed, I'm going to smash people in the face. Control yourself, bitch.
Sure.
What?
Yeah,
what kind of garbage is that? Like,
Yeah.
any reasoning that you actually bring up, really think about what the fucking reasoning is. Because sometimes even the most logical people say some bullshit at that point. Oh, yeah, I got to eat. Oh, whatever. Or this is what I've heard of recent. I'm 60.
Yeah.
It's over.
What's the point?
What's the point?
Yeah,
you know?
sure.
What am I going to live for another 15, 20 years? What kind of dumb bullshit is that?
Yeah.
That's like real bullshit. Because that 10, 15 years might be off a fucking respirator. On social media is to cover some type of insecurity they have deep down.
It depends who's posting and what they're posting. But I've definitely seen what the example you just mentioned. I've seen that. I've seen people post stuff when I know that they're definitely posting for, whether it's for themselves straight up, where it's just like, okay, if I post this, I'll feel better, or if it's like, if I post this and other people like it, then I will like that they like it, kind of thing. So whether it's direct or indirect, yes, I have seen this.
So this is how deep I'm gonna go. I'm gonna start off by saying there's so many layers to this.
Yeah.
And there's so many different degrees.
Sure.
Okay, so there's some straight up spit in your face, I'm faking it. I'm renting cars and I'm fucking, you know, I'll give you the most cliche version of it. I'm acting like a rapper, blah, 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 even though everything's on a Visa card that I can't pay because I'm working for like $30 an hour or whatever the fuck. There's levels to that. So there's the outright guy that I said that's like trying to be a rapper. And then there's like the quiet Korean chick, you know what I'm talking about, that's slightly fat, but she's trying to act like her life's all fun.
Yeah.
Now she might be more realistic and just she can always if you catch her on it, be like, hey, why are you trying to make it seem like you're having all this fun when you're really not?
Yeah.
She'll be like, I am though. She can hide under that. But that rapper guy that's
Definitely
for
not.
$30,000 definitely can't, right? But if I knew that girl's like insider fucking basically an insider trade of her relationships, then I could actually call her up on it. So my point is like across the board, even my own fucking aunt, right?
Yeah.
Even your mom, even they'll try to get better pictures. They'll try to take pictures in good places. Like these are all ways of denying the actual reality. You're not going to take a bad picture of yourself in bad lighting at a poor place that you're doing nothing in and post it. That's not why you post it. People post generally, on average, people aren't celebrities. So they just post to make it seem like they felt good or something's good's happening or you know, it's on a positive connotation. It's not like a negative aspect of life. Let me take a picture. My husband just beat me. Like that doesn't happen that much.
How would you how do you feel about people that like would do that? Like they just post like the good and the bad. Like if they like, oh, look at me, just fell down the stairs, check this out. At that point, do you feel they're just using it to just like literally, it's like a diary that just happens to be public?
I feel like we do that. We don't have all the funny clips.
Yeah. Well, it's almost totally off topic, but I told you that I went to the States today, right? So my parents and I, we met with a big reason why we went today was because we were talking with these family friends who I told you are like, I consider them my grandparents because they're people that that literally helped raise me when I was born for a couple of years. So they're very close to my heart and to my parents as well. Yeah. And they're pushing like 85. Like they're getting up there. And my grandmother, Florence, at one point, and I feel bad. She's frail, bro. She's so frail. Yeah. Like fucking pick thin. Barely ate today because she's got like some recent gallbladder issues where she like, I'm sure like diet's even more limited than it used to be, and she was never a big eater anyways. Yeah, she's frail. But anyway, she's at one point she was asking me to help her with her phone because she has a cell phone, but contacts aren't really loaded. Like my number, my parents, they're just numbers, they're not names.
Yeah. Poor thing.
And she was like, hey, Hector, can you like help me like set up? Like I want to be able to. She's like, oh, I've noticed my phone keeps saying that memory's full. Memories. Could you help me? And I'm like, oh yeah, sure. So I like whatever did some stuff, deleted messages and all that stuff. And she's like, oh, hey, also could you also like have it so that the photos are like the first thing that I see, kind of thing. I was like, okay, so whatever. Brought up the app icon to the front page.
Yeah, okay.
And then when I open up, I'm like, okay, here, this is what it's gonna look like. Whatever, like this. It's like, oh look, let me show you something. She took like 10 photos of herself when she fucking fell down the stairs like 5 years ago. Dude, it's a fucking it looks like she got fucking smacked the fuck up.
Yeah.
Got like fucking like like fucking road rash on like her nose, head. And then because when you're old, your blood vessels are super frail.
I've seen this.
So she gets raccoon eyes.
Yeah, right away.
Fucking looks terrible. But she's like laughing. She's like, look how I looked.
Yeah.
And I'm like, 100% if she was like tech savvy, she'd be posting us on Instagram.
Yeah.
Like, hey guys, look what happened last week.
Yeah. I think there's a certain thing with sincerity.
Yes.
And
yes.
I think that's not been shown of recent. You got to stop microforming these things, man. You got to smoke it. These run out real. They're not like cigarettes.
I didn't. Yes.
We've lost that. It's a lost art, man. And another aspect of that is the older generation were so strong-willed on average. Even the North American ones that grew up here, like the grandmas from the 40s and 50s and stuff, they're savages, dude. They're not like regular kids, man. Like they're not regular people anymore. And that's another lost art. Now,
I think you're totally on the right path here.
The thing that we talked about is the LGBTQT and like this softer generation where everybody has to do with like, oh, you can't post on that, you can't do this, you can't do that. It's like you're just trying to control what we do. And the best case scenario is like places that are really safe, like Canada, UK. It's really prevalent. But when you go, we were talking about how Mexico, they don't give a fuck. Everybody's on the street right now. COVID, with vaccine, without vaccine. Suck my dick. We're out on the street. We're fucking. Right?
Yeah.
And it's because they're harder people. Regular shit doesn't affect them.
It's strange, man. Like.
Fuck, I fucking forget this. I'm trying to switch fucking.
Florence and my grandfather's name. His name is JC. She is a petite white lady. JC. Big, strong black dude. They got together when that shit was not okay.
They're savages.
And 100%, because I know her. She has always wanted better for this world, whether it's people like human rights and obviously, the racism problem that they've had in the States for all. I mean, she's fucking mixed couple we're talking about here in the States in like the 50s, 60s.
Interracial couple.
Yeah.
Like crazy. I mean, even in the 70s, that was crazy.
Kidding me?
They were like 30 back then.
Amongst all the difficulties that they had to deal with, they were still hard. Like,
oh yeah,
they still went through all the things that they had to do, even while they wanted a better future. They didn't let their struggles keep them from wanting to do more.
Keep them from their true potential.
Yeah, like they understood that the world that they lived in was not great and was not friendly to them all the time.
Don't matter though.
And that they needed to, or they wanted to make it a better place for obviously for their sons and daughters and all that stuff. But amongst all that struggle and all that rife, they didn't want to censor the world the way that people do now. Right, so amongst all the struggles that they had to go through, they're like, "Yeah, this shit sucks," and I'm probably gonna cry on a Friday because, someone was talking to JC about being black and some bullshit, and that's fucking stupid, and I hate it, and I'm gonna cry on Friday.
Yeah.
But when I show up on Monday, no one's gonna know that I did, and I'm gonna keep fighting for that better tomorrow. That shit is what we're missing right now.
Because the same shit happens right now.
Because it's the same. Yeah.
Listen, the same shit happens right now. That kid's gonna go depressed in 2 months. Right? Back
100%.
then, there was no such a thing. That wasn't an option. Nobody thought. This is why I have a problem with everybody being like, I got mental health problem. I got this. Label myself. Let me continue to fucking label myself so I can make an excuse later and procrastinate what I really need to do. That's what I really see. If you're actually sick, I get it. I get it. You're fucking schizophrenic. You're hearing stuff and you're trying to kill people. I understand. But if you're just saying, oh yeah, I can't study. I have to have some, do some trade job and not do my true potential because it's gonna be hard, or I don't have, I'm not the typical like nerd where I can just memorize a piece of sheet. Sure, you're not going against the grain, and a lot of life is going against the grain because the beauty in life is recognized when you do go against the grain.
And I don't know.
God damn it.
What's definitely true is that if you look at strict numbers, yeah, man, a lot more people are fucking killing themselves year on year.
Yeah.
That's something that can't be ignored. You can't just be like, oh, it's not that shit ain't a lie, man.
Yeah.
That's fucking toe tags are being counted at the morgue. That shit's not that's not made up. It's a fact. However, we do have to be asking ourselves, why the fuck is it happening to begin with? Like, this world is not, I mean, yeah, it's different than it used to be 30, 40 years ago. But 30, 40 years ago, people still dealt with a lot of fucked up shit.
More fucked up shit, if you want.
And
more life-threatening.
You have to ask yourself, maybe, is it a case of us not pushing ourselves hard enough and being surprised at what we can accomplish if we are pushed? Or are we being possibly manipulated too much? And what I mean by this, let me finish this quick before the weed fucks my shit up.
No, you're good, man.
No, I'm good, but it's just like the thoughts start going in too many directions. When you look at media, and there's actually a topic of conversation that came up today, so this is why I remember it. When you look at media nowadays, it is so much more infiltrated in your life than it used to be 50 years ago.
Even 5 years ago.
It is on another level.
Oh, buddy.
Like, back when Florence and JC were coming up about our age, the media was either print media was the dominant form of media still, and then you had visual and audio. So you had the radio, which was, again, that was like the secondary, and then visual was like the third. It wasn't as it wasn't as popular as the other two. So your main forms of being exposed to media was if you had the radio on in the kitchen, which is actually pretty common. You'd have the radio on all the time. The TV would be something in like the evening or like just for, not like special occasions, but it'll just be, especially for like news, it'll have like very strict segments. Like you'd only have it 6 o'clock news, 9 o'clock news, and that was it for news. The radio was more consistent, but again, you weren't getting breaking news every 2 fucking seconds. And then print media was even fucking slower than that because it was either every day you're getting it in the morning or you were getting it if you got like the specials like on the Sundays or Saturdays, you get it. So the rate of like fucking information that they were getting, it's fucked up when you realize how much more we're getting it. Because at this point, we're not just getting all those traditional forms of media that we used to get. We are getting derivatives of all of these forms of media. So now, print media, we could start a fucking newspaper tomorrow. And we could probably get it distributed within this building, next building over, like that's one form. Audio, we're doing a podcast right now. What is a podcast? That's a derivative form of like what radio used to be. And then the visual, my fucking god, like you have now the TV, which you have channels that are 24/7 news, where if you flip on the screen, it's just going to be a guy talking about the news all day, every day. And then you have your computer, which again, you can go online, more fucking news, more media. Your phone, which is a mini computer that you keep with you at all times. Same idea. You have access to instant information all the time. You have subscriptions that people are paying to get on. So now you're going to get blasted with breaking news every like hour. Imagine this. There's people who will have, and I've seen this, people at work, multiple apps that give them these fucking notifications. And I'm not even talking like conversations. I'm talking actual like news events, whether it's like they'll have like fucking 3 sports apps. They'll have like the Score, TSN, Sportsnet, blah, 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 blah. That's like 5. Then they have news ones. Now you have, New York Times, Vancouver's, all these things. And now you have Twitter again, right? Yeah. And then you got your friends. Do you understand how much fucking shit people are being like hit with? Yeah. It's actually fucked up especially like when the weed starts hitting. It's pretty fucked.
It's really fucked.
How much information we're just being hit with on a consistent basis.
I think you did a pretty good job with like highlighting how fucked up it is and how much additional intake we have.
Yeah.
I think we're running the same engine, but we're running like semi-truck intake.
I was gonna say
fuel,
rich.
fuel
It's so rich,
injectors, and we're running on like a 4-cylinder like back in the 50s.
and the fuel is so rich.
Yeah.
You're choking.
Yeah,
That's
you're
what
choking,
doing.
and people have become sensitive. I think the type of people that are gonna save us from this, they're not gonna be the old timers that don't understand technology,
Yeah.
and they're not gonna be the new generation that agrees and is already systematically fucked.
I think it's the one after.
It's the one between.
I think it's the one after.
I think it's the one between. This is why.
Well, we'll see what happens.
The one in between are who? Are guys like us. Are guys that weren't affected throughout our whole lives by it. Now, this is what I mean. Grade
Interesting
8.
take. Okay, yeah.
Grade 8. Did
Interesting
you
take.
have that?
We've had this conversation on a previous podcast.
Our generation, we're going to trigger, if we succeed, our generation is going to trigger the generation after Gen
Z. Okay.
To start. So
That's-
we are going to be the
like this.
masters of what triggered this. So the Vladimir Lenins, those fucking guys, the Che Guevaras, you know, the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 guys that trigger the fire of how we actually get over this. And then honestly, man, I don't see, if global warming is not a factor and we can exist with it past, 1,000 years, I don't see why we don't turn into some type of Matrix scenario as well. Because the whole world, we're going to have to be in cells, right? Because there's no sun anymore.
Oh, you have to be some metaverse shit right now?
I mean, think about it. Metaverse is, coming in, right? Before we know it, everybody's doing better over there than outside in the real world.
I think you made a really, really good point there where you're, because I didn't picture it like that in my head, but as soon as you said it out loud, it makes quite a bit of sense actually, where it's probably that in-between generation that triggers some kind of, it's like a catalyst for what comes next.
Yeah.
Because what will really, I think, begin taking us to this next stage of, it's not evolution, but this next stage of dealing with this new reality and this new environment that we all live in is going to be the generation after Gen Z. But the idea and the push will come from the in-betweens.
Yeah.
But we'll see, man, because like I said,
This is all he says, she says until it happens.
if you sit down and think about it, it's like it's actually fucked.
It is.
It's actually beyond fucked because it's not. We're starting to get so into it that we're gonna get to a point where we're not gonna remember what it was like to be out of it.
I think we're already too late.
No, we're still there. Like I remember what it was like to like whatever.
We are. But, and again.
The generation after? Yeah, they don't know.
And. So, what age do you think it switched over? Give me an age. Give me a number in your life.
What do you mean?
Give me an age where it switched over from, the olden days of technology to now. Yeah.
For me, like,
how
old I was, I would say
10, 12, 15, 13?
No. I'd say like 17, 18.
18, okay.
Yeah, 18.
All right. So, majority of your life, it's been the other way. So you can remember really well.
Yeah.
And it.
Eventually it'll tip. Yeah.
It was only 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Right? When you're 57, thinking about when you're 17, dog, that was a fucking fog.
True.
So I think, we're going to be those guys. If this fails, right, we're going to be with those guys, in 40 years. Hey, young blood, remember back in the day? Yeah, back in the day. I consistently.
I couldn't even load up Instagram and see these hoes.
What Instagram? Fucking use the pen pal through prison.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to get to a spot if this really fails, if we can't be the catalyst for the Gen Z that's not fucked up. Because who fucked up Gen Z? It was the 80s and 90s mothers and fathers that were born in the 80s and 90s.
There were some millennials.
Yeah, some millennials and the one before millennials. The later, right before millennials. What was that?
I don't remember those. I only remember
baby boomers.
No,
those are fucking hella old.
Even old. Those are
they're
older.
dead.
No, they're not. They're alive.
Yeah,
they're the ones. Baby boomers are the ones who are retiring now. Baby boomers are the kids who were born from the baby boom. That's why baby boomers.
Sure.
So like your manager, my like manager's manager, those guys.
Yeah, those guys had it well.
Those guys were born essentially after the war. That's the whole point. For the people that came back from the war.
Have you noticed that they had so much? Every baby boomer I talked to, most of them in Canada, that aren't complete fuck ups.
Yeah.
Always had, either have now because they took the potential chance.
Yeah.
Or they had a humongous chance. Dude, I was talking to a guy who is like